am a victim. This is I like that song.
Me as
Hi, boys
well.
and girls, I'm Chris Denham. He's Mike Michaels. This is the Chris and Mike Show. Episode what? 31? 31?
32. Episode number 32.
Oh, what is 32 in Spanish? 32. 32.
Very nice. Very
Episodio. So so Mike and I were talking off camera. I wrote this. I didn't write it. I wrote this thing as my name. Nobody can see it. That says, I am smelling like a rose. And that's a lyric from a Stone Temple song that is absolutely badass. So then he was talking about the riff and how it's a badass riff. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's a badass riff, but it's also a badass lyric. Because think about it. I'm smelling like a rose that somebody gave me on my birthday deathbed. Like,
deep, man. Deep.
Brilliant. Yeah, way deep. Like heavy, like gravity. Insane.
Well, like you said, it's
we're
basically him laying in his casket. Somebody places a rose on him, and that's what he smells like. He's envisioning his own death laying there.
Right.
As he's still alive.
Heroin.
So my comment was, how much heroin do you have to do before that lyric comes to you? Because that lyric never came to a normal person who wasn't doing drugs. I don't care who you are. It's unfortunate that it has to be that way. And I've played this in my head a million times. Would those same songs come out the same way if they were not in that state of mind? Mm-hmm. And no matter how hard I try to convince myself, the answer is always no.
Yeah.
Right?
Except for Listen to Your Sin, because your interpretation of that song was completely opposite of the interpretation why I wrote it, but how you interpret it gave it a whole new spin on it.
But okay, now there's a good topic. The difference between that scenario and what we're describing is, and as you know, because you've seen many sides of drug abuse, a heroin addict is completely different from somebody who's going on a spiritual trip, right? I've gone on many spiritual trips.
This is true. Absolutely.
I wanted to find myself. I wanted to understand more about life and while we're here and blah, blah, blah. But usually it's a self-reflecting thing, right? It's like, what's wrong with me? Where am I at?
Right.
What's my strengths? What's my weaknesses?
It's like self-help,
It is very much.
Exactly.
So I can see where somebody could find that dimension in their mind if you meditated hard enough, which you do as a lyricist, right? You go inside your head and you create a character, you create a story, you can create universes or other worlds. You got the world is your oyster, as they say, but you have to be able to get to that headspace to write those lyrics, right? That can be done without doing hallucinogens.
Oh yeah.
Hallucinogens are just
and that's
they're just a tool to get to that place that some or a lot of people can get there by themselves just by meditation. Agree, disagree? As a lyricist, I'm not a lyricist.
No, I agree. I mean, it's the muse, right? Because any songwriter or writer, for that matter, will tell you that if you force yourself to write something, it doesn't work. So you have to wait for that muse, whatever it is that flips that internal switch, and there's the idea. Like I had the idea for writing my book, The Legend of Charles Lee Lang, forever, like years and years and years and years, and I had it in my head over and over again what it would be about and the premise of it and everything. But legit, it wasn't until COVID hit where it's like everything just kind of fell into my brain, like, oh, this would be a perfect time to do this. And then I never sat down with the intent of writing it, if that makes sense. I sat down and I would read what I wrote, and then that would open up that vortex in my brain again, and off it would go. And sometimes I'd write 10 pages, sometimes I'd write 30 pages, right? And it was all done on my iPad, so I didn't know how many actually pages I was writing because I was doing it under the notes section. So when it was all said and done, it was like 116 pages, but I didn't know that in how I was doing it. So that's the thing. Once you get that creative energy, then the door opens up and then it flows. I mean, there were days where I would write one song, and there were days where I'd write 15 songs. It just depended on my mood and what was in my head. And if it was Nemesis era, then it was just what was that riff, and then I would write something for a riff, and then I wouldn't like that as for that riff, and then so all of a sudden that would turn into another song, and then we could have 4 songs written off one riff, but the 3 other songs went elsewhere, and I found the riff that fit with that one song. So that's the beauty of writing. And it's got to be the same with the guitar, right? Like you come up with a riff, and that riff takes you down one path musically, and like how you talked about how Scott would hey, change this, change that. I would change the length of things, and I'd say flip this to that, because what I was writing for would fit differently in the different structures of the songs. But it all comes. Wow, sorry, I didn't have my phone turned off. Phone's off.
Oh, I don't either. I'll out myself, so I'll turn mine off now. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I would totally agree with that, because I've been sitting there for 10 minutes and I've written 2 entire ideas before. And I've had ideas that when I made the conscious decision that I'm going to be an original songwriter versus playing in a cover band.
Right.
I started writing songs when I was probably realistically about 18. It was the first time I started teaching somebody to play guitar when I was in college. I traded guitar lessons for physics lessons because I wasn't very good at physics.
Oh, right on.
So there's times that I would start an idea and then I would just continue to work on it for years. I actually just extended an idea that I started when I was probably 24, 25, right about the time we were in Nemesis.
Oh.
And right one night dude. I'm sitting there and I'm just picking through those chords, and I started strumming in a different pattern, which gave me a whole new thought process in my head, and the whole universe opened up. It's like, that's exactly where that needed to go. But I never played those chords with that rhythmic pattern ever until that moment in time, which is that stuff just blows me away.
Huh. So
you'll be hearing that pretty soon.
Agreed. The creative juice that flows. Yeah. Nice. The creative, if you're creative, it's the fluidity of creativity is pretty spectacular. It just depends on the time, because sometimes it would pop up when I was writing that little nuance of being awake and falling asleep, and like, fuck, really?
Oh yeah.
Really? So then I repeat it in my head over and over again by the time I get up and walk into my office and write stuff down so I wouldn't lose it, And then technology, and I could sing into my phone. But, it wasn't fun with Nikki, though, laying in bed next to me, and I wake up, I am smelling like a rose. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? Just go back to sleep. Just go back to sleep.
I got to go to work in the morning, thanks.
It's okay. Yeah, right? But yeah, that's just I had that song that's dead and bloated in my head for the last couple of days, just because when I did the Yard Work Friday, it was one of the albums I was playing. It's their best stuff. It's got 18 tracks and it's good. It's live stuff, studio stuff, and rarities. It's pretty legit. Did you hear about Spotify raising prices again for the second time this year?
No.
Yeah, they dropped yesterday, raising prices.
They already had a rate hike once.
Because nobody's making money. Yeah, let's see what they're doing, where they're going.
How can they be not making any money?
Spotify. I'm talking about the artists.
Oh, okay. The artists, yeah, for sure. I was like, Jesus, they got like 185 million users at $12 a month.
Right. So it says Spotify raising its prices again, this time in the U.S. starting next month. Spotify premium subscribers will pay $11.99 a month. An increase of $1 from last July's price hike. Spotify Duo will jump to $16.99, and the family plan will increase to $19.99.
They're going to $20 everybody to death.
There's that.
Right?
Just like everybody else. Netflix, when we first got Netflix, it was like $3.99. Now it's $20 a month. You know,
unless you're a single plan.
Because then once you're in,
mine's only 15 or 15.49 or something.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who's a ripoff is fucking Hulu.
What mine is.
I just realized that Hulu is $17.99 a month.
Hulu?
They're the most expensive one out of all of them. It just hit me like a ton of bricks when I was looking at my credit card statement. I was like, why is Hulu all of a sudden $18 a month? And it's the one that I fucking watch the least. I got to pause that. Yeah. The nice thing about Hulu, for people who don't know, if you're not tech savvy and you don't read everything, and like Chris said in the beginning of this podcast, one thing that I am is very OCD and very detail oriented when I'm interested in something. And money is something I'm interested in, so I go through all that shit with a fine-tooth comb. So you can go into your Hulu account, go into your settings. I'm not sure exactly where it's at. It'll be in the billing somewhere. And pause your subscription for, I believe it's up to 3 months. It might be 6 months. If you know you're not going to watch it, pause it, because you can go in and unpause it 3 seconds later if you so choose. They don't care. But keep an eye on shit like that. Don't just pay for something that you're not watching, like I did for the last 8 months.
That's a good point, because I don't know what's on Hulu that's new. I'll have to look at Hulu later and decide if I'm going to pause it or not.
If you're into ABC shows or anything like that, or Hulu originals, they do have a lot of good stuff on there, but I've watched most of it.
What's an ABC? What's an ABC show? The alphabet?
No, like the network ABC. You know?
Oh. I got you.
Either Hulu owns ABC or ABC owns Hulu. You know, one way or the other, because they show all their stuff on there.
It's okay, like Peacock, like Peacock
NBC owns
NBC,
Peacock.
Vice versa. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then and then Paramount's CBS.
Correct.
So
which I really like Paramount a lot.
Like you said, ABC. So, right on.
There's a lot of good original programming on Paramount.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to check.
Got the Mayor of Kingstown.
With this one, we don't have Paramount.
Okay. Well, did you ever watch Yellowstone?
That sounds good. Oh yeah.
Okay, so the same guy that wrote Yellowstone did the Mayor of Kingstown. He did 1923. He did 1883. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he lives in Arizona.
Awesome.
I have one of my handyman guys did some work at his house. He came over and did something for me, and we started talking about shit. And he's like, "Oh yeah, he lives somewhere in North Scottsdale-ish." I was like, "Right on." So I found him up in tax registries. I sent him my book. He hasn't called me yet, motherfucker. But and Clint Eastwood's not going to do it, because Clint Eastwood's 94. He's done making movies. Like, come on, dude, you got one more too. And you're only 94. Like, what the fuck? You're like Chuck Norris. Like come on.
You got a good 30 movies left in you.
Right? Like 93.
You're Clint Eastwood, man.
Dude.
You can't.
With his money and his genes. Right.
He's like time itself.
Die. Yeah. It's like Keith Richards, only an actor.
Right.
So one of the fun things that I had told you, that because we're 6 months into the year, and we're all about the positive vibes, or the Be Kind shirt. So I thought about looking up and seeing what good stories have dropped in the first 6 months of this year. So I just Google machined it. And that's worldwide, not just America, but Canada. They're opening up this store. It's called a full-scale free grocery store in Saskatchewan. So it's a free store. Like it's opening as a flourishing food bank, and it continues to look for ways to support the community. But it's an absolutely free grocery store. I thought that was awesome. Brilliant. Yeah. I don't know what kind of food it is, but it's still kind of cool. So, like there's a place here in the valley called, oh God, it's Resurrection Street Ministry, and they own a store called, it's a thrift store. Shit, I can't remember the name of it now, which is terrible. But they have, I used to do food boxes and stuff with him, and then one of the guys I did it with, Dan, he died in surgery, and I just kind of like, it wasn't the same, so I stopped going because it just wasn't the same without Dan. But everything they do in the thrift store, everything they sell in the thrift store goes towards helping veterans and homeless. So they do food boxes like every day. They do senior boxes one day in the store. They do senior boxes out in the community one day a week. We used to do food box delivery, a couple different communities in the East Valley with them. And then when Dan passed, they opened up a free veteran store. So you got to be a vet to go in there, but you bring something, then you can take something. So like if you need, food, you bring a jacket or something, you know what I mean? So it's like an exchange, like, hey, you can take whatever you want here, but you have to in turn give us something else. And it doesn't have to be new. Like you could have a pair of shoes you don't wear anymore. Here's a pair of shoes. Okay. So now go get some groceries type thing. So kind of the same concept, but
remind me, I got a question I want to ask you.
Pretty cool.
But along the lines of what you're just saying right there.
Okay. Hey, ask.
The whole world would be a better place if it just ran that way, right? If we all just said, hey, I got this set of skills and you got this set of skills and let's just work it out, fuck money.
Yeah.
Not even barter. Just like, I'm talking like
the barter system.
It is, but it's more like the whole world if it were like you and I converse all the time, even outside this podcast. For the people who don't really know us outside the podcast, this is just how we talk anyway, which is why we're doing the podcast. We have sometimes really deep intellectual conversations, and sometimes we say shit that would make your toes curl. It depends on the day and it depends on our mood. But if everybody operated on that intellectual level and their skill levels, we would need no money, right? Because you can dig a hole and I can plant the shit that needs to go in the hole when we fill it in, Everybody's got skills.
Right.
If one guy's a farmer, one guy's the guy who can do the manual labor.
But unfortunately, there's going to be those, 500 million people that don't do shit and want to be freeloading off that. And
they're going to starve to death and die. So that won't last long.
That's why you have right. That would be the anarchy.
We're going to get rid of the assholes quick.
Have the crazy.
I'm not saying there's not going to be some losses. There'll be casualties, but they'll be the right casualties.
Right. Yeah.
The people who didn't want to do anything.
Incidentals. Yeah.
Trust me, my dad's behind us playing 1,000,000%. He's going, wow, yeah, I like that.
It's like
people who don't want to do shit.
It's like that
they're going to die.
With the chicken, right, or the hen. Yeah, they're going to die. It's like that fable where the hen is making wheat or something. I forget what it is, but nobody wants to help the chicken make the wheat and then plant the seeds and go from the seeds to sowing it to baking the bread. But as soon as the bread's done, everybody wants a piece. Well, where were you when it was fucking time to start building this shit up?
My great grandma used to tell us a bedtime story that was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never remember it now. But
it's like I learned bamboo. You can put bamboo. Right. Yeah. So you can put bamboo in the ground, right? And it'll stay this tall for 5 years. And then after the 5th year, it'll grow like 90 feet in 6 weeks.
Correct.
You know why? Because it's laying all the root system and stuff underground. I didn't know that. We have bamboo. I'm like, why isn't this fucking growing? Then I read something in a book like, no shit. We got 4 years. This shit's going to go crazy. So there's that. I have a friend that has just massive bamboo. Like he planted it in 2012 and shit you not, it's probably 3 stories tall. Like now in his backyard, it's massive. And I'm like, wow, like nothing for 5 years. And then boom, from the 5th year to now, it's just this mammoth thing. And it's just massive. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Plants are amazing.
Absolutely
they just
crazy.
hate me.
So here's another fun little, right? Well, yeah.
Unless I catch them on fire.
Inside or outside?
I can't keep anything alive, man, except grass. I'm good at keeping the weeds out of the grass and stuff like that. But, that's because I worked on a golf course.
That's good.
I've tried to have simple house plants in this fucking house, and every one of them dies. So I just decided that they hate me.
Houseplants are weird. Houseplants are weird. We can't grow houseplants here to save our lives, but Nikki grows them in her classroom because of all the fluorescent lighting. Well, that and the lighting. The indoor lighting sucks. So Nikki's classroom has fluorescent lighting. So all her plants in her classroom thrive because it has fluorescent lighting. And that's as close as you get, I think, to fake sunlight as, regular lights. And everything's LED now. So LED must not be conducive to plants.
Okay. I don't know. I just know I'm not good at it. I appreciate it. I love to look at them, and people who love them, I get it, but it's just not me.
Mm-hmm.
I try.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's another little fun thing that happened in 2024 so far.
Wait. See,
so we all know Egypt was controlled by Rome.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold that thought. I had a question.
I did ask you. Okay.
I know, but I had a thought before I had that question. That place that you do your meals at, I can't remember the name of it. Do they do that every day? Cristo. Or is that
yeah, 365 days a year. Every day.
Crap.
Every day. 365 days a year.
That's awesome.
Yep. Nonstop. Even when COVID hit, they still did it. I don't do that anymore, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah, I'll get into that. We can get into that some other day.
Okay.
I was on the board and I saw some shit, and you know me, I don't bite my tongue.
Nope.
So
should you?
The board members' resolution to the problem was, if I can't get over it, then I just need to leave the board. I'm like, okay, I'll leave the board. And then they said, well, if you leave the board, then you can't serve meals. I'm like, well, that's pretty fucked up, but I see how you are now.
That's terrible, dude.
So
now they won't let you volunteer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll tell you.
Awesome.
So we'll do that. We'll do that next week. We'll share that story next week.
All right. Put it on your whiteboard.
Keep positive today because it's a 6-month thing, So, right. So check this out, right? Egypt, classic Egypt, Roman Empire for 600 years, right? So in Egypt, they excavated a pet cemetery, which I think is just wrong because they were dead. But so they found evidence of monkeys that were imported from India and centurion letters of the papyrus. Papyrus? Did I say that? Papyrus? Papyrus? Papyrus.
It's a kind of paper.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So it's where they did this was Berenike, I guess, located the Red Sea in Egypt. Agent Port, it was in decline after its initial success, importing elephants and shit, all, from the excavations and stuff. So it ended up being a pet cemetery. So they found all these bones, 200 burials of pet cats, dogs, monkeys, and calves. They just uncovered them. 600. I don't know why that's good news, but I guess it's cool from an archaeological standpoint and time date, Oh, this is a cool one. So 2 Filipinos helped thousands of migrant teachers settled in New Zealand. Thousands. New Zealand has 72,000 Filipino migrants. Many of them are women arriving to fill the nation's teacher shortage. Ooh, I should tell Nikki, hey, we could move to New Zealand. That's crazy. 70. Yeah. So the Pinoy teachers has a pioneering Pinoy teachers in New Zealand has 23,000 members. It was a group founded on Facebook. And they've been mastering English, standing for teaching evaluations and getting teaching certificates, so that many migrant teachers throw in the towels apparently. So they're working on getting these teachers over there. That's pretty cool. Teachers make the world go round, man. Oh, a geonome. You know what geonomes are, right? Those really cool rocks.
I do.
Right? World's largest geonome found in a tiny fern. It was found in a fern. It's 50 times larger than a human.
Where did they find it
7% longer than the previous world record, holding the species for the largest genome. On the island of New Caledonia, a simple, unassuming species of fern has been identified as having the longest genome of any living organism. It has 416 chromosomes in every cell, compared to the humans of 23. If it's unraveled, it will climb higher than Big Ben in London's Westminster.
Holy smokes.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the smallest genome. Yeah. It's the largest genome ever discovered. And a tiny fern. It was found in a fern, which is just weird. Oh, this is a scary one. A heavy-set grandmother, that's the title, completes the terrifying 20-mile swim through shark-infested waters to break the world record.
That's why it was necessary to call her heavy set.
Weight by becoming the first woman to right, because she swam San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge to the Farallon Islands, a distance of nearly 30 miles. She was a former collegiate swimmer.
That water is colder than 24 years, dude.
But braved the frigid. Right, and it has sharks and jellyfish, which is remember Escape from Alcatraz. Speaking of Clint Eastwood,
of course,
the dude that he played, right? Those dudes that escaped from Alcatraz, they swam in that, and that's why they never found their bodies, because they were eaten by sharks. I'd like to
or they got to shore and got to shore, but hell of a life. We don't know. They never found them.
It'd be hard. Yeah, this is true. This is true. Yeah.
In that day and age, you could have done it, because they're, if they'd never got in trouble again,
because there was, you could.
It wasn't an electronic world.
Mm-hmm. True.
They could have lived in a town like I live in, and
absolutely
no one would have ever known the difference. They would have just had to contend with like 10,000 people for the rest of their life.
Yep.
Go to work every day, do your thing. One of them could have made it.
Yeah.
I agree that all three didn't make it.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
There's a possibility one of them made it.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Chester Zoo. I don't know where that is, but they celebrated as 11 endangered penguin chicks hatch. The most for a decade. Little tiny penguins. They look like little furry animals. It's a colony. Yeah.
Did you see that they just found like the largest body of fresh water underneath Antarctica?
No.
Yeah, it's like ocean size. Google that. Google largest body of fresh water under Antarctica. Just type in largest body of water found under Antarctica. It wasn't that long ago. Like, they called it ocean size fresh water, which is crazy. Proving we don't know shit about this planet.
So Lake Vostok is the largest lake in Antarctica, located approximately 2.5 miles beneath Russia's Vostok Station on the East Antarctic ice sheet. The water body is also known as the largest subglacial lake known. I don't know if that's recent or not. The oldest I have on the Google machine, there's new lakes discovered in 2021 with NASA's technology.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was the article.
The world's largest iceberg's been drifting for a year. Yeah, maybe. Still pretty cool. Sand batteries. Sand batteries could be the next frontier in renewable energy, and it's already heating homes in Finland. You heard me right. Sand. S-A-N-D. Batteries.
Well, we got plenty of that.
Genius. It's right. It represents an emerging approach to energy storage, particularly effective in harnessing and retaining energy from intermittent sources like solar and wind. The physical properties of sand, such as its ability to store the heat, which is true. I just had a bunch of sand delivered in a little man's playground yesterday, and we went out in the afternoon, and I had to rake the sand I had to rake it to bring the cold up from the bottom.
Oh yeah.
But because they store the heat, they make an excellent medium for energy retention. That's a trip.
Now, wouldn't it be hilarious if all of a sudden we started running out of fucking sand? It became a commodity like gold. We just blew through all the fucking sand in the Sahara.
Dude,
it could happen.
Right? It could. Like all those other like crazy movies. Like there's movies where they use sand as currency. I forget which one, but I remember just now that you said that, I'm like, oh yeah. There's some weird movie that had sand. Sand was currency.
I don't remember that one.
Oh wow. Red light therapy. Huh. That's a trip. I'm not going to dive in that one. Red light therapy is cool. Have you done red light therapy? Nick and I have been doing it for about a month. I dig it. It like
I don't even know what it is, so do tell.
Skin and you know what a tanning bed is, right?
Sure. Oh yeah.
So this isn't a tanning bed. You walk into it. It's like a stand up tanning bed, and it's just this infrared red light therapy, and it's just let's see what this thing says. But it helps with injuries. So this article is people with spinal cord injuries in the future could be healing their nerve conductions with a device that uses red light and near infrared light pointed at the exact source of damage. So what red light therapy, what it does is it helps it just helps your skin. It helps like prevent acne. It helps I have a friend who lost a ton of weight because he's got the workout bug, so he's been going there because it helps tighten and firm up your skin and things like that. It helps with injury, it helps with recovery. And this article is about the fact that because after a spinal cord injury, it's very common. Doctors would have patients do this therapy to kind of help with the overall healing. So it's a delivery of red light at a wavelength of 660 nanometers for 1 minute, 1 day, increases your cell viability. And that's kind of what it does. It helps kind of regenerate, and you just feel better and you get, I don't know. It's cool. It could just be a trend. But it's a healthy thing. So Nikki and I are all about healthy things because why not?
Well,
they've proven a meteorite from
they've proven that
sky.
Placebos can help. So if you think it helps, it helps. Mm-hmm. I mean, all that shit's been scientifically proven a million times.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's something with the power of the mind, man.
So
if you think you're healing yourself, you're healing yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and that's kind of like there's something with the power of the mind when people think they have fibromyalgia, and there's actually nothing called fibromyalgia. It's all in your head. There's nothing really wrong with you. You just think there is.
Is that true, though? Have they proven that?
There's nothing that says that fibromyalgia is an actual illness. It's just there's yeah. We've known people over the years that have it, and it's just like, no, you're just old. You just don't work out. You're just stagnant. Get off your ass and go walk. So it's just all in your head, man. So did you see like a couple weeks ago when there's a green comet flying across the sky? Was that just, I don't watch the news, but I get snippets of stuff on Instagram. But there's this green comet going whoosh, right across the sky with this dude. A piece of it landed near his property. So he's standing in his back garden, because they call backyards gardens over the pond. And he saw the light and he heard a whoosh and the object plummeted to the ground in Wakefield, West Yorkshire. Next day he discovered a charred rock lying on the street close to his home, and it smelled burnt. So he went outside, he picked it up. It's about the size of a big strawberry in his hand. And it's believed to be part of Halley's Comet.
Really?
He took it to the university and they put it on a microscope, and yeah. He wasn't 100% convinced of what it was, but he suggested it could be volcanic. But
that was this year?
It's flying across the sky. Mm-hmm. It was
okay. I missed recently.
That one. Whoops. June 1st.
Wow.
Like 3 days ago. Oh, right on. This is a good thing and a bad thing. A 5-year-old boy becomes the youngest ever to receive a bionic arm and is overjoyed to ride a scooter with 2 hands. He looks like Iron Man. He looks like his forearm is Iron Man. He's the youngest person ever to be fitted with a bionic arm. Yeah,
that's awesome.
He says he was left in a state of pure joy when he received the Iron Man themed hero arm prosthetic last week. Yeah, it's really fun and it's really cool, said Jordan. I like to play with the hand and make it open and close because it's bionic. Yeah, like they have a picture of him without a hand, and then he's got the fucking straight up, dude. He's got the Iron Man arm from his elbow down.
That's totally cool, man.
It's like you can't even put a number on how amazing it is. It's the first thing he wanted to do when he got home was ride his scooter and finally hold on to it with two hands.
Of course.
After Jordan, he had some advice for all of us. This don't give up. Just don't give up. Little kids, man. Little kids are so powerful. They didn't.
How old was he? 9?
5.
5?
5.
Oh, that's awesome.
5-year-old. Yep, 5. Yep. Like,
yeah, that's the other thing.
The little man.
If we could all stay with that mindset, where anything's possible.
Right.
Fucking adults ruin everything for everybody while they try and teach you how to be a successful adult yourself, It just sucks, man, that we're trapped in the system that we're trapped in, Like, how much I hate the system. We've had conversations ad nauseum about that. It's fucking stupid. Like, whoever invented all this should be shot. Yep. Like, why can't we all just do what we want to do?
Oh, well, yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. I agree.
Oh, fucking
that people try to pick fights just to pick fights. You just can't. Nobody accepts somebody's opinion anymore. They have to dig and poke and stir the pot. And somebody had posted. There's an ad online about all these different financing programs for first responders and medical practitioner stuff, but there's really not. Like there's 4 types of financing. There's conventional, FHA, VA, and there's USDA, right? And that's it. Now and this lady was arguing with me that, well, VA is a program. I'm like, it's not a program. VA financing is a loan for veterans. So if you're a first responder but not a veteran, you don't get VA financing. It's not a program. It's a loan. It's a type of loan. And she just kept like, I would explain it, and then she'd like, well, you're contradicting yourself. Like, no, I'm not. You're saying there's programs for these people. There's not programs for these people because the rates are so high, and that's the byproduct of the real estate world. When the rates are so high, the programs for first-time home buyers fall away because the first-time home buyer interest rates are typically higher. So if the rate's 5, then you're going to have a 7% for a first-time home buyer.
Sure.
Well, if the rates are 7.5%, no first-time home buyer is going to. Oh, I want 9.5%. That's insane. And so that's why they don't exist, because nobody will work with them. They're not cost effective. It's just, it's impossible for it to be a benefit for somebody to have a 2% higher rate. And I'm not talking the APR. I'm talking just the interest rate, not the APR, the actual interest rate on your mortgage. And so I'm going back and forth with this lady, not so much so, but over a period of 3 days, she would chime in and I would respond. So finally, I just told her, I'm like, look, there's 4 types of loans. That's it. The other programs don't exist because of that. And I was like, thank you for a great conversation. And she still had to fucking chime in to get the last word. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just leaving this conversation now. Like just, I can, and all my thing was just because the way this ad was written, it legitimately would make the consumer think that there's special programs for first responders and doctors. And now there are programs for doctors from a financing standpoint, but they're insane. It's a balloon payment. So a lot of doctors get paid. I know this because I've sold some houses.
Nobody wants a balloon
big
payment.
Bonuses twice a year. So they have, right, but doctors don't care because they have these massive bonuses. So they'll have this tiny little payment for 6 months and then a balloon. And then they'll drop their $50,000 on the balloon payment and then tiny little payments for 6 months and then the balloon. But they get their bonuses, so it works. Okay. But you have to be a doctor, and you also have to have insane credit scores. But so there's a program I did years ago called Heroes Home Advantage, which allowed me, which it didn't need the program to do it, but it opened my eyes to the program of being able to do it, where if a veteran police officer or teacher used me to buy or sell a home, then I would, at the closing table, I would give them a 25% credit based on whatever I would make. So if I made $1,000, I'd give them $250. But it wasn't really a program per se. It was deemed as a program. The lady behind it didn't make any money from it. It was just the realtors themselves had to have the good enough heart to say, hey, you're a veteran. I'm going to give you 25% of whatever it is I'm making to help offset your costs. As long as it's in writing, it's completely legitimate and legal, but it wasn't necessarily a program. Right. But what this ad was trying to make it out like with all these programs for these type of people. And I was like, all I did was like, be careful, because there's really not programs like this. There's loans that support these different things, but from a program standpoint, be careful, because there's always a catch. And
well, I used to do, a lot of graphic art stuff. So I would see these ad campaigns because I would have to do the color for them. I would eventually see what the final product was. And man, they can manipulate words to make it look like however they want it to look like within the bounds of the law. Right. And they're really good at it.
Exactly.
That's how I got really good at spotting it for the people at home that always think that I think, if you know me, when it comes to shit like that with ad campaigns and blah, blah, whatever, if it has to do with anybody trying to sell you something, the reason that most of the time I look at it and go, yeah, that's bullshit in about 45 seconds is because I've seen literally tens of thousands of ad campaigns when I was in the graphic arts business.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they're really good at it.
They know how to tweak it. Mm-hmm.
But back to your original thought, which started it's more so not even so much that people are so opinionated. It's that they're violent about their opinions. If you don't agree with them, they get mad.
Right. Yeah.
And then I got to end the conversation immediately. Yeah. That's another thing for anybody that knows me. Mm-hmm. If I say something that you disagree with, and you start trying to cram your opinion down my throat in any kind of threatening manner whatsoever, we're done. And I don't even mean like you're going to fight me. I mean, like you're getting angry. Fuck you. You need to learn how to not be married to so many of your ideas. That's what you need to learn. And I'm not willing to put forth the time to teach you because I'm too fucking old now. So like, I don't want it, I don't want a bunch of projects.
But it's true.
That's so offensive, man. It's like everybody's entitled to their opinion. Mm-hmm. You are not entitled to get mad because someone disagrees with you. My favorite is, they'll see somebody who's completely different than them. And it's like, hey, what the fuck are they wearing? Or why the fuck are they doing that? It's like, who cares? They probably wonder why the fuck you're wearing what you're wearing. Who gives a shit? Did they in any way affect your day today? In any way? Let that shit go, man. Talk about being positive. You want to know why I'm so mellow?
Yep.
I don't worry about stupid shit like that. I don't care. As long as that guy's not trying to make me wear them purple shorts with that pink tank top or whatever, it's like, if he wants to wear that, that's great.
Right.
The fuck do I care? The fuck do you care?
Yeah. Nope.
Those are questions I have every day, man. That's why I'm so passionate about it. Like, who cares?
Yep. Yep, but that's the problem with social media and keyboard warriors. There's no, you say that shit to somebody's face, you can get your ass popped. But now it's like, oh, I'll just turn my phone off. I'll just close the window. I can be a bully and then just close my window and go on with my day because
that's a whole nother special person. Fuck them people too.
You don't know where I live. Where's my dog? Dozer's barking. Hold on. I'm going to see what Dozer's growling at.
Somebody's invading the perimeter, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go do a sweep to see if we have to call in a SWAT team or any kind of, law enforcement. It could just be the FedEx guy, But I like that we might have to call in the SWAT team and, man people from the roofs next door. Take somebody out. Trying to bust in. Go to the most extreme scenario and then find out it's the FedEx guy. That's my prediction. But, he's got crazy neighbors, so I don't blame him. They pointed a camera right in his backyard, so they watch everything he does. Isn't that fascinating? Welcome to Arizona, where people put up walls, and then now with modern technology, they just put a camera that looks right over the wall. Fascinating. So I'll just take my neighbors here who have lived there for, like 60 and 50 years respectively. Was it the FedEx guy?
There was somebody at the door. 50 to 60 years respectively. It was the Amazon guy, but I don't know why. Those usually doesn't like growl like that, so it must have been a new guy.
No, so when you went away, I started this whole fantasy about how we might have to call in the SWAT team or some kind of law enforcement of some kind.
Oh, right on.
And then I immediately said, if I didn't it's probably the FedEx guy, but I want to go to the most extreme scenario. So we're probably going to have to call in the SWAT team or some kind of law enforcement. And they'll probably have to be stationed on the roofs because, he's got crazy neighbors that point fucking cameras in his backyard. So that's when you came back, I was saying, I'll take my neighbors who have lived in their houses for 60 years and 50 years, respectively.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't have walls or anything. We just mow each other's yards and shit.
I know, because Illinois doesn't have I'm from Illinois. My grandmother never had walls. It was just this, wide open space, man. You just knew where your property line ended. You just knew. And then, that was it.
And I'm lucky because cool like that. Like I said, everybody's lived in this neighborhood for a long time, and my sister lives right next door, so we all get along swimmingly.
I know, which is cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So this is kind of cool. This is actually really cool. So instead of taking millions of dollars for their land, a Texas family made a park instead.
I thought I read something or heard something about Austin's that. That's awesome.
Yeah. That is awesome. So 30 minutes from Austin's busy tech sector with music venues, barbecue restaurants, all that kind of jazz. A family voluntarily sold land they owned at $40 million less than what developers were going to offer.
That's what made it such a good story.
Country. Yeah, it's 1,500. It was known as like RGK Ranch. Sorry, 1,500 7-acre cattle ranch was owned by this family for 3 generations. Talks about how they made their money, all that kind of jazz. The foundation was set up by one of the family members, and 90 acres of the ranch were sold to Travis County for $90 million, which then funded a proposition for parks. So the property was permitted for 1,400 houses along and 150 acres of commercial development, along with apartments and shopping centers, and the park, which is cool. They still made money, but they would have made more if they sold it a different way. So that's cool.
Absolutely. I love when people do stuff like that.
Oh, holy shit. A Virginia teacher retired after 67 years and just left $1 million to her school family.
Wow.
She died when she taught for 67 years before retiring at 89, and she passed away. In her will, she left the students of the Virginia school system $1 million. She was known as Mrs. O. And within a month, the school district, the schools, now if they fucking use it right,
man, that's why you heard. I'm sure everybody at home did too. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, there was a lot of sarcasm in that. That's awesome. I get it. Because I'm glad Chris just said it out loud. That's why there was sarcasm in that, because I have my own reservations about our current education system through no fault of the teachers. They're doing what they're told so they can keep their job.
Absolutely not.
We all do what we're told. So I think if you asked most teachers, they would say, if I could do things differently, I would. And that's why I have reservations about leaving large sums of money to our current education system. It's about in the same shambles as the political system.
She paid it towards something called She did it towards. She paid it towards something called Spark, which is an education foundation for the PW County schools. It will be used to expand the scholarship she set up with Spark. after retiring 6 years ago, which has already benefited dozens of students who received cash grants for college. So it sounds like she did it. She set it up properly, so it doesn't get misappropriated into the wrong hands, and they just, fuck. Yeah.
Build a new gymnasium or something.
Yep. Yeah.
It
sounds like she set it up for scholarships for kids, so I'm sure there's a criteria. Yeah. That's cool.
But to your point, that's what they would do with shit like that if she hadn't put some kind of stipulation in there that says this goes for kids to get a higher education. I was fortunate that I had a family member that really believed in higher education, and she helped me finish college, or I wouldn't have been able to, because my dad was out of work for like 2.5 years before I went to school. So, they were just getting back on their feet, and I was trying to go to college. So I really appreciate people that are there, that have money, that will put forth that kind of effort to help somebody that really wants to better themselves,
Yeah.
Because now the student's making the choice.
This is funny. An airport. Yeah. So this is funny. An airport keeps wildlife away from the runways with a robot disguised as a predator. Like, it looks like something out of Star Wars, and it chases Alaska's Department of Transportation. It's a 4-legged robotic guard animal that's disguised as a fox or coyote, to deter animals from loitering on the runways, which, rightfully so, right? You don't want to have a duck fly in front of your engine, and who knows what kind of shit that would happen.
That's funny. Wreck the plane.
A little robot. Absolutely. Oh, right on. So we're stranded at Gilligan's Island. 3 castaways stranded on an island rescued after spelling out the word help using leaves.
No.
This was back in April. Yeah, back in April. Castaways stranded on an island in Micronesia were rescued after spelling out help in palm leaves. The U.S. Coast Guard picked up 3 sailors stranded on Pinkalot Atoll after they had gotten into trouble in their small 20-foot open skiff. The men all experienced navigating local seas, reportedly embarked on a voyage from Palawat Atoll on Easter Sunday, equipped with an outboard motor, and they didn't return. But the Coast Guard was doing research, and in a remarkable testament to their will to be found, the mariners spelled out help on a beach using palm leaves, a crucial factor in their discovery. That's cool.
Always cool.
That's a word of wise, boys and girls. If you're ever stranded on an island, spell the word help out on the beach. That's the first thing you got to do. Help. Just find something and spell help. Right?
If you're limited on leaves,
SOS.
Go with SOS.
Right.
You might have limited resources.
Yep. Something. Right. Don't just say hey or hi. Say, SOS, like Mike said, or help. One of the two.
Yes, because Gilligan's Island was unrealistic, ladies and gentlemen.
U.S. scientists, wonder what this costs to fill up. U.S. scientists are launching a gas station into space to provide refueling. Like, legit, it's $25.5 million to launch this gas station in
that
space.
Was billions and billions of dollars of research. We got it. You got to have a Texaco in space, man.
Yeah. Because God forbid we take care of our own.
I think I alluded to that earlier.
I dig space. I like the whole astronaut thing, but come on, man. Yeah.
We got to figure this shit out first.
Let's do something better. Yes.
We haven't even figured out how to take care of each other. We still argue about stupid shit, like, opinions and religions.
Right.
And
like, is there really
race?
Right. And if there's right and programs and.
Dude, it still fascinates me every day that you run into people that are still racist. It's like, really? It's 2024, you dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I mean dumb.
Yep.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, nothing good comes out of that at all in any way, shape, or form, regardless of who the racist person is, because it goes all. It doesn't just. It doesn't. It's not just the white people.
Yeah. So why are we spending all this money going to space?
Levels of society, right?
Why don't we spend money educating people that they can use their own brain to decide if somebody's either nice or an asshole? That's all you got to do. Just look at the person in front of you and are they nice to you or are they an asshole? Doesn't matter what color their skin is, because you can't. Yep. My favorite one is, nope, I'm not racist. And then 2 days later, you hear the guy say, well, you know how those people are, or you know how they are. Well, you just fucking categorized a whole race of people, you dumb fuck. But you don't realize it because in your mind, you're not a racist because you told yourself you're not a racist. Mm-hmm. That's not how it works. But those are my favorite people. Right? They're fucking adorable. Yep. Well, you know how they are. You just casually said that. You just casually categorized the whole fucking race of people.
I know. Yeah. Yep. So this is interesting. This is kind of cool. So the Super Bowl this year, it was the biggest sporting event in America that went green this year thanks to its position out in the desert. There's 621,000 solar panels channeled the electricity needed to power the Allegiant Stadium, home of the Super Bowl in Vegas this year. The entire thing was run off solar energy. The entire event. That's
600,000?
621,000 solar panels.
Okay.
Supplied the electricity for the entire Super Bowl event.
So now we need to figure out, this is how I ruin everything for everybody. That's just my job. We need to figure out what solar panels are made out of and decide if that's really good or it's really just a, we just discussed advertising earlier. A lot of this electric stuff is smoke and mirrors, people. Smoke and fucking mirrors. Because there's some poor little 8-year-old kid digging in the ground over in Africa for the fucking minerals that you need for your battery to feel good about driving your fucking Tesla.
Right.
So just know that. And then even if that's not the case, it takes 260 gallons of diesel and the biggest piece of equipment that Caterpillar makes, 12 hours to make enough, to mine enough mineral to make one battery. 260 gallons of diesel and 12 hours of labor on that machine to make one battery.
That's insane.
And it takes battery. 10, 12 batteries to run an electric car?
Oh yeah, and let's don't forget they cost $25,000 to replace. And oh, by the way, let's not use your air conditioning in the summer for a couple hours a day, but go ahead and charge that electric car because you're saving the grid. Like, how are you saving the grid if the rolling brownouts, right, that California has, but how many electric cars are plugged in during those rolling brownouts and stay plugged in?
Now let's take this one step further.
Fucking stupid. There's a solar plane.
Take it one step further. A person that can afford an electric car is probably living in a house in Southern California or Arizona or New Mexico or Texas that has not one, but two, maybe three. If you live in a big enough house, you might have 4, 5, 6 air conditioners running that house, right?
Yep.
I know a lot of people have 2. Many people have 3 out there. So you got 3 air conditioners making you comfortable in your house as you drive your electric car.
Yeah.
Here's your sign.
Right.
As
we
Bill
have 2, but one of them is in the addition. Yep. So while we're on the topic of solar, check this out. A solar powered Mars plane set to cruise the red planet looking for water. It's the wings are made of solar. I don't know why we're so fascinated with finding existence on Mars. It's not like we're going to go relocate to Mars, man. Like, literally, if we would stop pumping money into extraterrestrial and fucking finding other planets to live on and use all that money for our planet, we'd be so much better. Like, I love space travel. I love the idea of astronauts and shit. And there's something else out there, but we're not going to jump on a plane and go to Mars, man. We're not relocating Arizona to Mars. We're not moving to the moon. Like, it just needs to stop. They're wasting so much money on this shit. For what? For what? Imagine how many houses, like Austin built 2,000 tiny home communities, right? With 2,000 neighbors in it. So imagine how many like tiny homes you could build to house homeless veterans and homeless people alone, but make it self-sustaining. Where if you want to live here, you have to work in the garden. You make it so it's self-sustaining. You grow your vegetables, and kind of like we were talking about earlier, the whole barter thing. Like, you want to come in here and live here, we'll put a roof over your head, but you have to pick one of these 3 jobs. And you got to clock in for your job every day, and you got to work 8 hours a day, whatever this job is, to help sustain this community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do that. Or bring down the cost of fucking insulin, or bring down the cost of all the fucking crazy cancer drugs and shit. Take care of us before you go looking at, let's relocate to Mars. Fuck you. Nobody's going to live on. In my lifetime, your lifetime, little man's lifetime, you're not going to be on Mars. You're talking that's hundreds of thousands of years away, if that, just to get there and do that. And what's the fucking point of colonizing on Mars? Who gives a shit? We have our own planet. Just take care of our fucking planet, man.
Yeah, because then you either have to terraform that planet, or you have to build enclosures that people can live in, because that planet isn't hospitable to human life.
Right.
And there's a large portion of me that believes that is originally where life may have come from, and then it became the barren planet that it is. There's some weird shit that happened as the universe was created, because we don't really understand the moon even yet, why it's there. They think now that it was going to be another planet, kind of like Jupiter has. I just learned that Jupiter is bigger than all the other planets combined.
Yeah.
It's that massive.
Yep. That's why I don't get it. I just don't get it. So this is a cool story. A 4-month-old baby who was sucked up in a tornado was found asleep and unharmed in the cradle of fallen tree limbs. This happened back in, this is December of 23.
That's crazy.
But it was Sydney Moore watched as the bassinet containing her infant son, Lord, Lord, followed the roof of her mobile home.
She must have been a fan of the band.
Up into the funnel of a tornado, right? Ensuring she thought that she would never see him again. Without time to shed a tear, she threw herself atop her 1-year-old boy just as the walls collapsed on them both. Outside, her car was obliterated. The area around her Clarksville, Tennessee mobile home was completely destroyed. Surviving the collapse of her home, she searched desperately for the 4-month-old with her boyfriend, who had been thrown by the force of a funnel, which broke his arm and shoulder. She's like, I thought he was dead. And I'd never see him again. Then a miracle. It was like a little tree cradle. Her baby was but for a cut unscathed, lying asleep in the crook of a fallen tree. That's crazy. That's somebody who's supposed to be in this world. It's just, but that's the benefit of, that's a weird thing too. Like when, drunk driving is monumentally stupid, but you hear those stories about how kids, because they're so limp and they're so like reactionary to accidents and stuff in their car seats, that a lot of them come out unscathed, where the parents will be completely obliterated because they don't tense. They just,
Well, there's that. And then babies' bones are like, they're like rubber. Their whole being is like, they're like rubber in the beginning. They're obviously their head, that spot on their head is super sensitive for a while, but as long as you avoid
the soft spot,
as long as you avoid hitting their head, you've seen it, your dad, grandpa, it's like, you've seen all kinds of babies cruise around and just, they fall and everybody's like, oh my God. And they get up and start laughing, as long as you don't react horribly, they don't react horribly most of the time, because they're really not hurt.
Yeah. Oh,
they're like little rubber balls,
No. Yeah.
We become brittle as we get older. Our bones get harder and more fragile and weak bitches. We turn into weak bitches.
Little man's brother bounces on the ground, and there's, we totally. Trip does that. Trip falls, smacks his head, and it's like nothing happens to him.
Sure.
He cried the other day when I brought Anthony over because I opened the door and he was all happy, and then a couple minutes later I grabbed Anthony. He was like, he started to cry because we were leaving. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't watch both of you. I'm not. That's one at a time. One at a time. Oh, so you've heard about flying cars, right? How flying cars is the new thing. It's
since the 90s.
Supposed to be relevant. It's supposed to be coming. Yeah. Well, now they're actually in production and shit. So there's a flying car called a Switchblade that you can park in your garage and it lifts off. The Samson Switchblade, a street legal car that received airworthiness certificate from the FAA, is ready to begin testing. A veteran pilot took the Switchblade on its first maiden flight, driving to the airport, deploying its wings and tail, and then taking off for a 6-minute flight 500 feet above the ground. That's cool. They already have 2,300 reservations from 57 different countries and all 50 states in the U.S.
Of course they do.
Yeah, 100. Yeah. Switchblade comes in two kit types: a $180,000 model that permits a pilot to operate in clear weather conditions, and a $200,000 model that version to fly in different weather conditions. So here's the thing, though: like brand new trucks right now, like
that's really not that bad.
To 200,000, depending on what you. No. If that's going to be the same cost of buying a brand new truck, then fucking I'm going to buy a car plane. Imagine showing houses in a car plane. Follow me. Just look up.
This will take great, about 25 minutes instead of 2.5 hours.
Yep. I could get to fucking Glendale in like 10 minutes, dude. That would be awesome.
What's it take for you to get to Glendale now from your house at 3:00?
Hour.
Oh, jeez.
Hour and 15 minutes probably. Well, we have a new freeway that goes behind Ahwatukee, so that takes like 45 minutes off in rush hour. Okay. It goes right behind Ahwatukee, and it connects to the 10, and then it comes off kind of like where Cricket Pavilion is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then there's 4 miles after that, you hop on the 101. That's the 303, and that takes me north.
Okay, yeah, there was no 303 when I was there.
Grand Avenue, and there you go. Nope. So that helps a lot, like big time. Helps a lot. Over 200 UFO sightings in 2023. They did no harm. They were just there flying the friendly skies. Of course, now they call them unidentified anomalous phenomena instead of UFOs. They're UAPs, which is stupid. They're UFOs, man. Come on. Yeah. They were 291 in 2022. We don't change shit like that. And
291?
No. Sightings in 2022, and there was 200 sightings in over 200 sightings in 2023. 291 sightings in 2023.
Wow.
I don't know why they just didn't say that. 291. Why do you guys say over 200? That's stupid. It would be kind of cool to meet an alien as long as he didn't like zap you and kill you. But I guess if he zapped you and killed you, it'd be instantaneous because they have the ray guns, and you would just die. You wouldn't know you were dead because it would be instantaneous death.
Okay, since you said that, I have that in my notes. If you met an alien, would you tell someone?
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
You don't. I know you and I would.
Get on my phone and take a selfie.
I guess. Okay, that'll. If you remember, put that on Facebook as if you met an alien, because most normal, but we're not normal. Most normal. I'd tell everybody too. Most normal people would be like, no, because they would all of a sudden everybody would think I'm crazy. So if they came down and abducted you and took you up in the ship,
you got to look at it now.
Would you? That's what I'm saying. If you were abducted by aliens and they took you up in the ship and they showed you all this shit, would you come down and tell somebody?
Yeah.
Hey,
I would share.
You would share?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You don't think the guys from the government would show up and
absolutely
wipe you out?
They would. They'd take me away. They'd take me away for a while, and then I'd come back. But I'd let them poke and prod me for science. Why not? To me, it's fascinating. So yeah,
it is. But I'm rethinking my opinion because I'm thinking of how I would convince somebody that was real and that I just hadn't gone off the deep end. You know what I'm saying? I know you would believe me.
Right.
My mom and dad would believe me. But how do I convince the general public that, hey, I was really there, Because nobody has been able to convince anybody that they were really there. Everybody ends up being a nut job. I told you I used to listen to Art Bell religiously, and that was a huge topic on his show because he was fascinated with it. Is there alien life anywhere else in the universe or beyond? And he actually had these people come on, like Whitley Strieber was a big one. That was the first South Park that was ever made where Cartman got anal probed. That was making fun of Whitley Strieber's constant Art Bell appearances, saying that he went up in the craft and, they probed him anally and that it caused him PTSD. But he also said that he could communicate with these creatures. And then after these multiple abductions, that he had a constant stream of communication with whatever he called these aliens. And he got dubbed a fucking whack job, to the point where a cartoon made fun of him.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Look it up. You can Google it. Google Whitley Strieber. I think it's Streiber. You can read the whole backstory. And he was and eventually dubbed a fucking crazy person. Roger Lear's another one. He's the son of the inventor of the Lear jet.
Oh.
He said that he removed alien implants from people. Like literally did the surgeries to remove the implants from these people. Yeah, he was on Art Bell a lot too. He's another one to Google if you're fascinated with alien topics.
Crazy.
Lear, Roger Lear.
Crazy. Interesting. I'm making that thing before I forget.
So now that you hear that, it makes you think. I don't know. You might tell me. I don't know if you'd tell anybody else. Your wife, your kids. But
I would. Because
you're still coming forth for humanity. I'm Chris Dunham. I was taken aboard the craft, and they showed me the next universe over.
Yeah, why not? What's the worst thing that's going to happen?
I guess you and I don't
control of my mind, and
we don't care if somebody calls us crazy. It happens every day.
No, okay. What
else I got nothing left to lose.
But I'm going to put that. Yeah, I'm going to drop this on the Facebook right now because I just made it. If you get abducted by aliens, would you tell anyone?
There you go.
It's power technology, multitasking, Mr. Michaels.
We want to know.
Multitasking. We do want to know. We don't just ask the stupid questions.
And before I forget, while you're doing that, we have noticed an uptick in people who are streaming our podcast, like from episode 1. So apparently you like what we're doing. So welcome. Once you get to episode 32, it'll be a while now, but you'll get there. And we want to welcome you and say thanks and give us a shout out at Facebook or leave us a shout out on Spotify or YouTube or wherever you're listening at. And let us know who you are and where you're at. Austria went up 1%. So apparently we're, it's a big move in a little country.
We're big in Austria.
It's 4% of our listenership.
So you get one country talking, man. Right? You get one country talking, and it's all over, man.
It is big. Over. So for the freaks at home like me that like statistics, it's fun to see where everybody's listening at and what the percentage of people that are in that particular place that are listening, because when I'm looking at that analytics page, a lot of it says less than 1%, right? Less than 1%, less than 1%, which means like one person's listening or two people are listening. To move 1% in an entire country is you picked up a whole nother region of people that are listening.
Yeah.
So welcome to those people.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Welcome. Welcome to the show. All right. It's about that time. We got to wrap this up because I have somebody coming to my house in 9 minutes.
All right, man.
9 minutes. So boys and girls, you're never alone. So if you have any alien abduction stories or, things like that you want to share with us, we will not judge you. We're here for you. We will
come on the podcast and tell your story.
What has happened to you. Right. Absolutely.
I won't judge you.
And we're going to have the ability to have guests here shortly, which is going to be
shitload of questions.
Fucking A.
Yeah, I'm calling them fuckers tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, and make sure. Yeah, and make sure when you get abducted, you have your cell phone handy because everybody has their cell phone all the time. I leave mine in my vehicle when Nikki and I do our nightly walks because I just like to tune out of the world. But if you get abducted, photo proof, and then share it. I would sell it first, then share it. Like maybe sell it to the Inquirer. Make some. Yeah, and Nessie from if you're over the pond and you see Nessie,
that fucking thing's bullshit.
Get a picture of Nessie. I'd like to see. I know, but it'd still be nice to see it for real. If it's true. Who knows, man?
No, I think they proved that's bullshit. You'll have to Google that next week.
Yeah. You and I could be living in the Matrix for all we know. And this is just a computer program that's we're not really real, We're not real, man. Like, what do I do with my hands? My hands?
Whoever's running my program, I need to win the Powerball the next time I buy a ticket, and then I'll do plenty of good with it. But I got to stop this working shit.
I'll be, yeah. I'd be down with that too. I didn't want to win. I could do so much with $1 million. I don't even do win the Powerball. I could do so much with $1 million. Just make that shit grow and expand and help and do all kinds of great things. It's the people that would do great things that never win. It's the people that live in the trailer smoking, a carton of cigarettes a day and drinking a fifth of Jack. They win. And then they piss it all away within 3 years and they're back bankrupt.
Yes.
But it's people like us that it would actually have a positive impact on, there'd be a positive impact on the world around us, around our worlds. That's why, that's why the good guys finish last. That's why only the good die young,
It ain't over yet.
So with that, boys and girls, thank you for listening. It's not over yet. This is 6 months into the year. We're rocking. Next episode's going to drop on Father's Day, right?
Oh, happy Father's Day.
So we'll have to talk about fathers next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, it's 2 weeks away. So we'll talk about that next week. So
happy Father's Day 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, you need anything, reach out. Mike and I are here. Yeah, thank you. So good talking to you, brother.
You too, man. Have a good rest of your night.
Nothing but love.
All right. Love you too. Peace.
You too. We'll get dance lessons again later tonight too. It'll be fun. See ya.